The story, as they tell it, is that Godfrey is in the house, his family's on the beach, and the family starts panicking because his son is being swept out into the ocean. So Godfrey runs to the beach, jumps in the ocean to go swim after his child. They call, the Coast Guard, and they ended up saving the son. But Godfrey was never found.
From the dawn of the spoken word, storytelling has been the backbone of human culture, warning of looming dangers and evoking our most personal fears. What you're about to hear are the real-life experiences of everyday people, brave enough to share their terrifying tales. Tales where the horror hits close to home. I'm your host, Danny. Welcome to the Hometown Horrors Podcast. Listen, if you dare. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Hometown Horrors Podcast, and we are back at it again, baby. Spooky time. Well, we had Kelly on episode 4. We finally wrangled his older brother, Dan, into the show.
Hello.
Do you remember that beer pong team we used to have?
The one where we always won?
The undefeated one?
Yes.
Yeah, Dungeons and Danny, man. We dominated that table.
Yeah, we'd usually win. If we lost, it was because of some bullshit,
And we don't count those.
No, of course not. I don't remember those.
So when Kelly was on, he was hyping up some stories you have, man. And I'm so excited to hear these.
Yeah, I have a couple. I got one that's kind of personal story of mine, and then a set of stories from a beach house down in North Carolina. It's a friend's house. It's
a place you'd been multiple times.
Yes,
like
over the course
summer.
of years, there was always things happening. So it's kind of a grouping of stories over maybe 10 years of going in there. So two buddies of mine, they're brothers, Doug and Donald.
Oh, I know Doug. I used to work with Doug at Toyota.
Yes, same guy. Great
Shouts
dude.
to Doug.
Their family, they own a series of beach houses down in the Outer Banks.
Didn't he move to an island with his mom?
Yeah, he actually lives on the Virgin Islands at the moment.
That's so fucking lit.
Yeah. There was always talk that he would come back, but he never did.
He's just having too much fun with those island women, yeah.
Why wouldn't he? So, like I said, they have a couple houses down there in the Outer Banks. And I may have been 25, 26 years old the first time that they ever invited me down there. And we would always go in the off season. So we weren't down there during July or something when there was mass amounts of people. It'd be like October, September, maybe even like March or something. We weren't going for any reason other than just to hang out and party. And majority of the time, it would just be maybe 2, 3, or 4 people. But the first memory I have, like the first incident that I can remember, it was me and the two brothers in this house. It's right on the beach. It has 6, 7 bedrooms in it. And there's 2 split levels. There's a kitchen downstairs, a kitchen upstairs, 4 bedrooms downstairs, and 2 bedrooms up top. It's a large house. But when we would go down there, for the most part, it would just be me and 1 or 2 people. The first time we went down there just to party. It's probably a little bit chilly outside. Most things down there are closed, but we went down there, just to have a good time. So we only went for 2 days and, copious amounts of alcohol, which
as is tradition.
Right. And this first part doesn't really seem scary or weird on its own, but when you add it up to everything else, it's a pattern of strange occurrences. And this is before I knew anything that was going on in the house, the history of the house. So we were there, we're drinking and probably playing beer pong, even though there's only 3 of us. We're listening to music, probably a lot of like punk rock and stuff. And we drink, and everybody falls asleep. It's probably around 3, 4 in the morning that the music just cuts on, full volume. And I recognized the CD immediately. It was Battle Hymns by the Suicide Machines. And my reaction is, why are these guys playing music at 4 in the morning? What's going on?
Yeah, you guys probably just passed out an hour or 2 before.
Right. So there's 2 bedrooms, a living room, and a kitchen upstairs. In the bottom level of the house, there's 4 bedrooms. But the other 2 brothers never went down there. They never really said why. It wasn't weird at the time, but that's where I stayed. So the music comes on, then I trudge up the stairs, and I'm very confused with what the hell they're doing up there. All the lights are off, but the music is just blaring. And I'm looking around, and there's nobody there. I unplug the thing and go back to sleep.
Neither of them stirred. Neither of them came out of their rooms.
They didn't move, The next day, we bring it up and talk about it. We're sitting at lunch at one of the few places that are open during the off season. And Donald looks over at his brother and he says, it was probably Godfrey. And now I'm intrigued. Who's Godfrey?
Gilbert?
Hey! Now, like I said, this house is on the beach. I don't know when it was built, but it's definitely been there since the 50s, 60s. And Godfrey was one of the original owners of the house. And the story, as they tell it, is that Godfrey is in the house and his family's on the beach. And the family starts panicking because his son is being swept out into the ocean. So Godfrey runs to the beach, jumps in the ocean to go swim after his child. They call, the Coast Guard, and they ended up saving the son. But Godfrey was never found. So that was just bar talk. We were like laughing, kind of like freaked out about it.
Yeah, and it sounds like Doug and Donald attributed a lot of things to him at that point.
Yes, they already knew about things going on, none of which they shared with me at the moment. So a year goes by, we're going to go back again. This time it's just me and Doug. His brother and maybe his dad were coming down to meet us at a later point. We left after work one day. I don't think we even got there till sometime after midnight. And a little embarrassing, we didn't bring any booze with us. Total amateur move.
There's like 3 open stores.
Yes, and they're definitely not open at midnight during the off season. So we get down to this huge house and we're kind of kicking ourselves in the ass. We didn't bring any booze. But sure enough, in the freezer is a bottle of Kahlua, which isn't really the greatest.
But it'll have to do. Yeah.
And it did. So he and I drank a bottle of Kahlua, which I would never recommend. Right. I'm sure we mixed it with something, maybe water. I don't know. Or cigarettes.
That's the worst thing you could do with it. Yeah.
But we put this bottle of Kahlua down, which is just mostly sugar. And then it's time to go to sleep. So Doug elects to sleep on the couch upstairs. The other 2 bedrooms are already spoken for by his brother and his father, who were coming the next day or something. So I go downstairs to the little lonely, scary area down there. And I'm pretty intoxicated, and I fall asleep in my little room. So hours later, I wake up, and I'm not in my room. I'm actually on the floor of the living room upstairs, next to the couch where my buddy was sleeping. I'm confused. I don't know what's going on. Why am I here? And I wake him up. He tells me, you came up here last night freaked out because you heard somebody talking to you outside of your window, which immediately freaks me out. It's a ground level window. And I'm not the type of dude to like black out like that, but I have no memory of waking up and being frightened or paranoid or alarmed at all that there's somebody talking to me outside the window. He told me that I came up there and told him that, and he said, hey, just lay down and go to sleep, which is exactly what I did. So the next day, his brother and his father show up. It's like normal, good beach times, and we go have lunch and stuff. And when we came back to the house, this is midday, the current people who own the house, which I believe is his uncle and his aunt, they're at the house and they're doing some sort of work. And they're getting ready to leave kind of as we are getting back to the house. And the uncle, he had to go inside to get something. And I thought it was strange that he elected to go up around the outside to go up the wooden steps rather than just go in the door right there to shoot up right in. So later that night, we're talking, we're hanging out, and then the subject of Godfrey comes up again. And Doug tells me, he goes, why do you think my uncle doesn't go into the downstairs? The uncle says that some years ago, he was downstairs and he saw a person walk from one bedroom to the other bedroom, and there's nobody in the house. It was a person in a red checkered bathrobe. They don't stay there after night. They don't like being there at all.
Yeah, I thought it was a weird situation that they were going to leave as you got there. It's like you have the house.
Right. These little things are just adding up. When we would go, it would be for 3 or 4 days at a time.
Just like a weekend getaway, maybe?
Yes. A lot of alcohol involved, a lot of partying, so maybe some ghostly things did happen. Maybe I was just too inebriated to know. So it may have been the following year, same scenario, me and the 2 brothers. The dad was coming, and maybe Donald's girlfriend at the time. My girlfriend at the time was coming to meet me, although she was coming a day or two later. My girlfriend showed up and, we do our thing, a lot of partying. And, the subject of Godfrey comes up. Everybody likes ghost stories. And after a couple of drinks, it's not really scary either. And I would take it upon myself sometimes to even go down into that basement just to freak myself out.
Yeah.
Just, I love being scared.
It's fun. Yeah.
Yes. I always enjoyed that. Let it take over. So this room I stayed in, it had 2 little twin beds in it. And my girlfriend and I at the time were used to a king bed. Whatever. We have no problem sleeping in separate beds. So we're asleep in this little room, one of the 4 scary rooms. In the middle of the night, she goes, Dan. And you know how when somebody wakes you up in the middle of the night, you can tell by the tone of voice there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And that also they may have been trying to get your attention for some
a while.
time.
Yeah.
I kind of sit up. I'm confused and scared. And she says, there's somebody in here. And this is a very small room. There's 2 beds, maybe 2 bedside tables. So I sit up completely and I can see her.
Also sitting up.
Yes.
Looking around the room.
And she's freaked out. I'm hesitant to even reach over and turn the light on. So now my mind's playing tricks on me. Is there somebody in the closet? Is there somebody out the window talking to us again? So she goes, Dan. I go, okay. I turn the light on. There's nobody in there. I get up. I open the little closet. I kind of look out the window and I can just see the look on her face that she is terrified, which is freaking me out. I'm supposed to be the big tough guy boyfriend.
You've got to fight the lion in this situation.
I'm actually more scared than she is, but I'm trying to pretend like I'm not.
And you're hoping just going through the actions will start checking those boxes off of, I don't have to be afraid of this. I don't have to be afraid of that.
Cold Case Western Australia is a new true crime podcast series produced on behalf of the WA Police Force Special Crime Squad. The series examines unsolved homicide cases, some dating back several decades, in the world's largest policing jurisdiction. You'll hear new case details and insights from the investigating detectives and forensic experts. There are now $1 million rewards attached to each unsolved homicide in Western Australia. You can listen to Cold Case Western Australia wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting the WA Police Force website.
I look under the bed. Not that there was any room to put anything, but, I look in the closet. I open the hallway door. And I'm like, so there's nobody here. And just the look on her face, she truly believed there was somebody in that room.
Did she ever elaborate on the experience that led her to believe that?
She just said there was somebody at the foot of her bed standing there. Right.
With her specifically hearing the Godfrey story, maybe it put something in her head.
Or she had a bad dream, or maybe Doug came in there. Maybe Doug was in there.
Maybe it's a Scooby-Doo type situation where they tell you the scary story and then they do weird things every now and again.
So we cuddled in that same little twin bed for the remainder of the evening. It was probably more for my benefit than hers because I was probably more scared than she was. So that same trip, Donald's girlfriend at the time was there as well. And so was their father's girlfriend. So the room situation got a little bit screwed up. Donald and his girlfriend had to sleep in one of the rooms downstairs. The creepiest one, by the way.
Is there an ascending level of the creepier rooms?
Yeah. You got to picture this downstairs. It's shag carpet. The lighting is dim. It's 60-watt bulbs. You got 3 generic rooms that look exactly the same. And then there's a 4th one that has a bigger bed, which is somehow creepier because it has a bathroom attached to it with concrete floor. And just the whole place has a vibe to it.
Yeah.
Especially the downstairs part. It's you can almost feel that there's sadness there. Something happened. So he and his girl are sleeping in the farthest room that has the king bed in it. And this is his story. He's in bed with her and he wakes up in the middle of the night and he feels like there's somebody in the room. So he sits up and he says, hello, and doesn't hear anything. And he says again, hello. And the second time, as soon as he said it, the door slams to his room shut because it was open. It just slammed shut. Now that's when I woke up because I heard a door slamming. So I get up. And I come down the hall. They're freaking out. He's freaking out. She doesn't know what's going on because she's sleeping, but he is noticeably shaken.
Yeah.
And, when you know somebody that well and you can just see the look in their face that there's something wrong, it reverberates in you. And now I'm trying to be the big guy and say, no, let's all I'm trying to trick myself into not being scared anymore.
Yeah. And you said it was during the same weekend
Yep.
same 3
week.
days.
Yep. As far as I remember, nothing else happened for the rest of that trip, but it's definitely something we talked about all the time. The last thing I remember, this would have been maybe the following year. We go down, it's me and the 2 brothers and their father. I'm in my haunted room, by myself.
Do you do the same room each time you're down
Yes. I'm a creature of habit.
there? Yeah.
Haunted or not, I'm just going for it.
Evil,
It was always funny because there's 2 rooms upstairs for the dad and the brother, and the other brother slept on the couch upstairs rather than electing to have a room downstairs.
I wonder how many experiences they had before they're like, we're just not messing with that.
I'm sure they have plenty.
Maybe I could get like a group call with them on.
They might be into that.
That's one of my favorite parts of the show is when I interview somebody, they're like, this is someone else you need to talk to. No, I'll for sure be reaching out to them.
Yeah, I talk to them not as much as I should, but, I still keep in contact with them. So one of my traditions when I would go down to the beach, everybody's a heavy drinker, but I would like to smoke sometimes. And my favorite time to do that would be 1, 2, 3 in the morning, walk down to the beach, sit on the beach and freak myself out, think about the ocean and life. So one particular evening, they're all kind of passing out. And I go, that's my cue. I'm going to go down to the beach for a little bit.
Take some alone time.
Yep. Now, there is a door from the downstairs level that goes straight out to the beach, but it's not something that I ever used. So I go down, I do my thing and have fun, think about like a kraken coming out of the water and taking me into the ocean or whatever, and go back home to my haunted room and retire. Nothing happened. So the next morning I wake up and I can hear that everybody's awake. I'm the last one to get up and I can hear them all talking and they all go out to the beach. I go up and I make myself breakfast and they all come in. Everybody's talking, going over the stupid things that happened the night prior. And we all load up a cooler and we go down to the beach again. So we're all coming back up. This is probably noon or something like that. We're all kind of walking back up and there's this broken glass all over the bottom deck. And, immediately everybody goes, oh, well, Dan.
Whatever he was doing.
Walking around.
That crazy kid.
Of course I broke it. And I'm inclined to agree. Not that I like blacked out or anything, but.
You never know. Maybe something off.
I kind of laugh it off and say, hey, okay, that's funny. But deep down I go, man, I didn't do that. And, everybody's kind of joking that I did it, ha, ha, ha. We're sitting there and, it comes up again as a joke at my expense. And then I say, weren't you guys like walking around all morning?
Yeah, let's examine the timeline on this thing.
Right. And then they all look at each other and they go, you know what? It wasn't broken because they would have noticed it because you walk across that part of the deck.
And you were the last to wake up.
Right. If you're inside walking out, there's a door like any other door. And then beyond that is a storm door. The storm door is what broke. And it was broken out. Somebody was inside and punched the glass outwards. So the glass was spread all over the deck. It would make sense if I'm stumbling back from the beach and fell into the door, the glass would be all inside in between the storm door and the door to the house. But it was busted out. So when we were all at the beach, something broke the glass outwards all over the deck.
That place is fucking haunted.
It is definitely haunted. It is definitely haunted. And that's all my personal experiences from the place. But there is a sense of something there.
Yeah.
Especially in that downstairs area of the house. The upstairs is like any other house, any beach house, sand in the carpets and
that's
fish on the walls.
Creepy story that goes with it too. A dad that swam into the ocean after his child and just never came back, never was found.
I would imagine that if that was the case, he would have ran out that door towards the beach.
So we theorize a lot on the show about just what things might be.
Mm-hmm.
Think about the last moments of his life thinking that his son's going to drown, the panic that would overtake you, you trying to get outside as quickly as possible to try and save your child. Maybe that's the snapshot in time.
Maybe it's 100-yard dash to the beach, which is a lot running through sand, when your kid's dying. That's some serious human emotion.
And we've talked about it before. Honestly, a lot of the show is theoretical. If there is an afterlife, if there are ghosts, blah, blah, blah. But assuming there is, let's say that when you die, when you pass on, you have a hard drive of all your experiences throughout life, like autosaves in a video game.
Right.
Maybe autosaves exist throughout your existence. And maybe when you die, not all of you goes into heaven. Like, what's the important part of you that would be considered the soul? Is it every single thing every time you want to go take a shit? Probably not. That doesn't get uploaded to the cloud. Maybe that moment, the most traumatic moments in our lives, are saved in the areas in which they happen.
Right. Is he stuck in that moment, or is it just that moment that is stuck on repeat?
I don't know that it's actually him. If there was a soul, the soul's probably gone. But that moment of emotion, that moment of tension is stuck right there.
Yeah.
And maybe there is more than just the memory right there. Maybe there is some interactivity with it. Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows? Yeah.
Who
Things
can
like
say
that,
for sure?
You know, emotion like that can imprint on things, whether it's a building or
because it might just be its
location.
own thing after a certain point.
Yeah.
And that's the same with a lot of haunted places too. You can feel an energy there, whether or not you've been told about it beforehand.
Have you ever just like looked at a house or something and
just
get a
felt
vibe
something from it? Yeah,
like some random place driving down the road, you just
Yeah.
look at something and go, man, there's something going on there. I would like to start this part by saying that I'm aware that time degrades memories. When you're 10, your treehouse is 25 feet in the air, and you go back there when you're 30 years old, it's actually only 8 feet off the ground. You know what I mean? So I know that before I tell this story. So my best friend growing up, his name was Tyler. He lived kind of down past Fauquier High School, if you're familiar with that. There's houses and things, but a house might be half a mile from each other, but you can't see it.
Yeah.
Because of the woods and all that. So his house, it's unique. It wasn't like cookie cutter in the middle of a neighborhood house. Probably built in the 50s or something. And their driveway was probably about 200 yards long up a very steep hill. And it wound through the woods. So it wasn't a straight shot. You couldn't see the house from the beginning of the driveway. It was so steep that in the wintertime, they would tie ropes to trees down the driveway.
Holy shit.
Because they had to park at the bottom.
And they had to pull
They had to
themselves
climb
up
this
because of the.
If it was
they're so
icy,
slick,
there's no
yeah.
chance a car is getting up it. Wow. Like I said, he was my best friend. We met in probably first grade. We hung out all the time, sleepovers, that whole thing.
Absolutely.
And we came up with some sort of game we used to play, and it was the Ghost Club Society. It sounds really stupid. I mean, Ghost Club Society. We could have just called it the Ghost Club. You know, we didn't have to say society, you know.
Yeah.
Basically just a made-up kids game. We had like a demon or a ghost that we had to like fight or help.
Was it the same one each time, or was it just like
No,
an
it was
episodic?
different. It was almost like a video game that like this was the ghost, and we might do that for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And things would happen, and we would quote unquote beat the ghost, or we would help them, or the demon, or whatever it was.
Exercise it, just
Yes.
end the arc
and
of
then
that narrative.
it would move on. And there was a lot of nuance to this. There was a phone that we would talk to them on that was never plugged in.
That's kind of awesome.
There
You guys
was-
had your own like Nickelodeon.
It was weird.
Are
It-
You Afraid of the Dark?
You know,
show.
looking back, it's almost kind of creepy to think about some of the things we did, because it was like this weird role-playing game involving demons and ghosts and things. And
Yeah.
the power of suggestion is pretty strong, especially when you're a kid. One evening, we're hanging out at the house, and it was dark out. So I honestly can't remember if it was in the middle of the summer, so it was 9 o'clock, or was it winter and it was 6 o'clock? I don't know. But his father, who was at the house at the time, had to leave, leaving us home alone. We were probably 10. They're going to be gone for 20, 30 minutes. And we're hanging out in his room, and we're doing our thing, playing our silly game that freaked the hell out of us sometimes. And from his room window, a car pulls up into the driveway. And we both peer out and go, oh, your dad's back. Well, it's not your dad, because that's a big truck. It was dark enough that when the person got out of the front seat and walked in front of the headlights, we could see their feet obscure the headlight. We start freaking out. Who is this person? We run into the other side of the house. He calls my mom.
God bless her.
And he starts freaking out. Mrs. Shepherd, there's some guy here in a truck. She probably starts freaking out, Everybody's freaking out. The door opens. We panic. It was just his dad. So nothing happened. That's how crazy our kind of imaginations were. This dude's property, he lived in the woods. And we had a lot of places we would hang out. We had names for him. We had things like the fort. We had the rope swing. We had G.I. Joe log. We had the cliffs. We had the pasture. We had all these different areas around his property through the woods that we would play at, and we knew them by name. So one particular day, we're going to the cliffs. And the cliffs are at the very bottom of this driveway by the road. And when I say cliffs, as kids, they were cliffs, but it was a dried riverbed.
Yeah.
So it was probably 5 feet like a drop off, but to a 10-year-old, it's like a cliff.
It's huge, yeah.
To the point you could swing off like vines and things like that. So one day we're down there at the bottom of this driveway and we're walking. He's 2 or 3 steps in front of me. Twigs snapping, leaves crunching as we're like trudging through the woods. And we both immediately stop. There's movement ahead of us. Not movement like a squirrel. It's not a raccoon or something. There's something very large directly in front of us. It looked originally like a beehive. It's like grayish.
Yeah, grayish, brownish lump of...
Yes, it kind of looks like tree bark, but it's moving. It's moving enough to the point where we both stopped dead in our tracks. It wasn't, hey, do you see that? It wasn't, hey, what is that? We both just immediately just
froze.
Stop. And this thing is turning around. It has a face, it has arms, it has legs, and it begins to stand up. My friend, who I said is 2 or 3 steps in front of me, turns around, not to say, hey, what is that? He's turning around to run. And I will never forget the look on this dude's face. It was absolute terror because he didn't turn around to look at me. He looked through me because he didn't care if I was there or not.
He was gone mentally.
He was running.
Like, we're getting
running
the fuck out.
And we ran the entire way up that steep driveway, all the way up into this dude's house, and started screaming at his mom. There's a monster in the woods. And she's kind of, you kids are stupid, but kind of concerned. Maybe there's some creep in the woods or something.
So are you saying this thing was like maybe on the ground?
It would have been sitting like on a log facing away from you. You would just see their back. And then when it turns around, then you could see its leg and then its arm and then its face. Entirely one color. As I remember, yeah. I mean, I just remember it looked like a beehive. As I preface this, that time degrades memories, It could have been a lot of things, but I remember the fear that I felt, and I remember the look on my friend's face when he spun around to run through me. Not, hey, let's get out of here together. He was leaving, whether I was going to stay there or not.
Not a zoinks. Let's split.
No, it was terrifying. I've told this story a handful of times, and people say, hey, was it a homeless person? Was it an Ent, like from Lord of the Rings, a tree herder? Was it a
skinwalker?
A skinwalker, yeah. I would just really like to know what it was. I would love somebody to tell me, hey, it was like an old tree that fell over. Yeah. And it freaked you out. I'm not saying it was a monster. If I was by myself, I would just kind of chalk it up to like...
It must have just been one of those.
But the fact that it was, we both stopped dead in our tracks. We both just run.
That's also just childhood too. You know what I mean? Like there's so many little experiences like that. Like, did I just embellish that over time, or was it actually as vivid and weird as it seems to me now?
And plus mixed with like all that weird stuff we were playing about demons and...
Yeah, you're already kind of in the zone for that.
Right. So that's why I'm not completely sold on the fact that...
maybe you didn't see some kind of cryptozoological monster.
Right.
Maybe it was just...
some vagrant.
But I mean, I had a similar childhood. I played with your brother and Liam in the woods all the time. Like,
right.
We never really came across anything spooky or weird like that.
No.
And maybe that's just because we weren't specifically in that headspace of, maybe we're going to fight a ghost or a demon or something.
Right.
We used to walk around the woods behind Liam's house all the time, and that's just flat forest.
There's no Chabbit or anything?
No Chabbit. Shouts to the Chabbit. So we're going to have to do a group episode.
I don't have too many Chabbit stories, but...
yeah, it's just a weird monster that resided out of your childhood home.
We'll save that for another episode.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, Dan. It's been a lot of fun, man.
Thanks for having me. Had a blast.
See you later, folks. Now those were some frightfully fun stories. Howdy, everybody. It's me, your host, Danny. And I wanted to let you in on something special. You might have noticed that when I introduce the show, I say we are the Hometown Horrors podcast. That's because there will always be at least 3 people in each episode. Me, the person who wants to hear a good story, the guest, the teller of a good story, and you, the listener, that takes that story and carries it with you out into the world. And we make up a special kind of trinity. We are the Hometown Horrors Podcast. And if you ever want to graduate from listener to guest, reach out to us via our handle on Instagram, hometown_horrors_podcast. Our email is thehometownhorrorspodcast, no spaces, @gmail.com, or via text or phone call at 571-358-8880, which FYI is not my personal number, but give it a ring. I'll get back to you, because if there's anything I've learned from doing the podcast is that everybody has a story, and that story deserves to be heard. On your number one source for the most spine-tingling, gut-wrenching, insomnia-inducing stories around, the Hometown Horrors Podcast.